Episode of Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific here on Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're always finding, learning, playing one more turning of the great strategy games. And we hover over Hawaii, but there is a sadness as we have lost 2 American subs. Fingers are being pointed at command headquarters. Hopefully not at me, but likely, given I am Supreme Commander, I shall have to take the blame. We did lose 2 subs this last turn, and I'm not proud to say that was my own fault. We should not be bringing subs back into Manila, and we are going to rectify that situation very quickly. But before we do that, let's go look at the stats. So we resolved turn 12 last time, December 19th turn. We are now on December 20th, moving right along, clipping along, right? These will start to pick up even faster as we go. You know, it's going to get to the point here we're doing hopefully 2 to 3 turns a week. Early in the war, it's just a little slower. That's just how it is. You got to get every single unit in the game where you want it to go. But then after that, most of your ground units are kind of where you need them to be. Now, this week, we are going to go look at Nomaya, Suva, Pago Pago, Christmas Island, Palmyra, Johnston, Pearl Harbor. We'll also go up into China. Now, last time we looked over India and Rangoon and all that. And of course, every time you should look at Rangoon, Calcutta, you know, so we will go up and look at all those things briefly, but we're really going to focus kind of out in the South Pacific and near, you know, all of those islands along our chain. So we will do that. And as I said, the first thing we're going to do is set up those damn subs so that doesn't happen again. All right, what happened this last turn? Well, you can see we flew over 3,000 sorties. The Japanese flew 2,000. We still have not spotted the main Japanese task force. You know, it's coming. That will be a real turning point in the game because that kind of sets the dominoes falling for what happens over the next month or two. So if they show up right outside Singapore, or if they show up down near Java, off of Balikpapan, if they come down near Nomaya, I mean, there's a lot of choices of where the Japanese could go, and you just never know until you spot them, and we have not spotted them yet. Now, we have a lot of naval search out there, so I feel like if they were close, we would see them. It's possible they've completely been regrouping there at the Japanese home islands, maybe even adding some more ships to the mix, and that we will see them shortly. Well, I know we'll see them shortly, we just don't know where. Now, last turn, strangely enough for this early in the game, you know, we lost 1 plane to air losses, the Japanese lost 0. That's low, you know, for a full day of the war here. We're about 2 weeks in, but it is what it is. It was just a slower turn in the air that time. The Japanese did have many bombing runs, but we have pulled some of our aircraft back. So take, you know, Clark Field there in the Philippines, for instance. The Japanese did bomb us there. They bombed us all around there, those 3 main bases in the Philippines, but we didn't have really any cap up, or not much. So, you know, there weren't a lot of air-to-air. They did not bomb Rangoon this time, which I find slightly curious, but fine by me. They did not. Destroyed on the field. We had 2 today. Of course, I hate those because that just seems like a waste to me, but you can't avoid them altogether. We've had 9 in the campaign. We had 2 today, yesterday. Japanese, none. Destroyed by flak, none and none. Operational losses, we had 10 operational losses this time. I think that is because we are starting to get runways damaged. And so we would take more operational losses. We'll go look around at some places and just make sure that where we have runway damage that's severe, we're getting the heck out of there. Evil 6, what's up, my friend? How are you today? Hopefully all is going well. Stanley, how are you? P. Warner, good to see you guys. Thank you for dropping by. Any upsets in March Madness? I don't know. I kind of am sad. I was so saddened by my Illinois Fighting Illini going out, even though they were a #1 seed, that I couldn't even watch yesterday. I couldn't even watch. Um, I'm heartbroken, as you can tell. Look at me. I've been weeping. It's not quite that severe. I think I'm at an age now where I take sports maybe in the right vein, which is, hey, that's great if my team, is doing well, but I don't live and die by it like I used to. In some respects, I used to be a big Chicago Bulls fan when Michael Jordan was there, and that wasn't just fair weather stuff like, oh, I like Michael Jordan. I mean, I lived in Chicago, so that was a fun time. The Blackhawks, when they were good, I really followed the Blackhawks. The Bears aren't worth following. Uh, so anyway, yes, Stanley, Illinois did lose to an in-state school, and I used to live right by that school. It's called Loyola of Chicago. It's a small Catholic school that's located right in the city, and really cool little place to go to school. I would think you're right in downtown Chicago. It's absolutely beautiful around there, right across from the park. But it's a very tiny school. I mean, Illinois probably has 60,000 undergraduate students, and I think Loyola maybe has 5,000, if that, if that. But anyway, uh, yeah, good old Oral Roberts, one of the old Bible beaters from back in the day, set up his own school, and now they play basketball well. Getting over here to bases controlled, this is staying fairly static. Now we lost Wake Island last time. We will continue to lose bases here and there, so this will even up more and more. We're doing fine. The Japanese have not progressed in any alarming way anywhere on the map. If you play a very aggressive human player, they would be further along. We do have this set on very difficult, I think. So, the AI, I think, is just doing fine. We're doing fine, and as the allied player, that's fine. As long as you're doing fine, your reinforcements are on the way. Although we can't lose subs in a foolish manner, and that, as you can tell, that's bothered me. Allied aircraft points lost 113, Japanese 183. If you're ahead this part of the game, you're doing just dandy. Army lost points. Well, we have lost a lot of these in China, but be that as it may, this is probably about normal, I would say. We've now had 38 ships sunk for a grand total of 454. A lot of that was those 2 battleships on day 1. And the Japanese have had 10 sunk for 88 points. Aircraft losses. Well, we could go through all of this. It looks like the Japanese have mainly lost bombers, Nells, Bettys. Let's kind of sort the total here. We've lost 44 P-40E Warhawks. They are our workhorse early on, so that's not surprising. We have blown a lot of Sallies out of the air. Sally, Nell, Lily. Why the Japanese like to name their bombers after American women, I don't know, but it's fun. 40, 33, 31. We've taken them out. We've actually taken out 30 Zeros, which is pretty high. The Zero is the best fighter in the game by far at the start. So, hey, we're, keeping up there. Oh, Evil Six. Were those the American code names? I'm like, why are the Japanese naming all their bombers? Okay, so that's what we call them. Who knows what the Japanese called them, right? Hey, Barreled, what's up? Arthur. What's the story? Yeah, it's War in the East 2 week. I feel like a lot of you War in the Pacific people kind of, have your noses up in the air about War in the East. You're like, I don't care about that. Hey, Sean, what are you doing? What a crew I've got here today. I've got the best subs in the business. Yeah, I know, Stanley. It's the Americans naming them. I probably should have figured that out, right? I very much doubt the Japanese were calling anyone Betty. So, Yeah, that's obviously the American code names. I knew that. I was just pulling your leg. Um, we've lost some buffaloes here. Some other Wildcat variant. The F4, F3 Wildcat. Some Oscars have gone down. Well, you can look through all that. Group reinforcement schedule. What do we got coming in here? In one day, we've got some Kingfishers coming into LA. Now, what are they attached to? Yeah, they're attached to Air West, so those are really training craft at the start anyway. I don't know. We'll go look and see if we can buy them out at some point, or if we even want to. We got some hurricane in 2 days. We've got hurricanes coming into Cape Town. We need to think about that. Now, we still have those transports at Cape Town, and we should have had a lot of stuff come to Cape Town this time. So we will go check that situation out. We got some recon aircraft, the O-47A into San Francisco, the C-47 Sky Train. I like that. The Sky Train makes me think of the old American show Soul Train. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember that. Well, Stanley is, right, Stanley? You and I, we're the two that could remember that. But Soul Train. So we got the C-47 Sky Train coming into Brisbane. Uh, Things get really interesting here in 5 to 6 days when we get all these Banshees into Brisbane. We'll have to think about that. We've got what are probably a lot of training aircraft out here at Mojave, out in the desert. The guys are like, hey, we could have been stationed in San Diego and you've got us out at Mojave. What's going on? Yeah, the Yorktown. We got the Yorktown in 10 days. Always a red letter day when you get a big old aircraft carrier. Group withdrawal schedule. I think we are fine with this. I don't think there's anything withdrawing anytime soon. Yeah, no, we don't have anything withdrawing for like 26 days. So we'll continue to use these as training craft. Maybe not the ones up in Chongqing. Again, we'll go through China this time. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on figuring that out right now. We could look at aircraft replacement pool. List top pilots. Did we get an ace this time? No, Burgard didn't get anything. He's still out with the Flying Tigers. That's because, like I said, kind of surprisingly, there was no bombing at Rangoon this time. Pretty much at this point of the game, the Japanese bomb Rangoon every turn. Maybe they had some fatigue and wanted to give, wanted to give him a break. I don't know. Oh, Evil Six says he was stationed at Mojave. Nice and toasty there, huh? It's weird at Mojave, right? It gets like cold at night, but it's hot as Hades during the day. I don't know. I don't know that much about Mojave, but I would assume out in the middle of the desert, that's how it played out. Uh, Barreled, yes, I'm super excited. Barreled, oh, good. I'm glad some of you guys are excited for War in the East too. I think that's going to kick us into another gear here. I plan again. I'm not going to get an advanced copy, so Thursday is going to be crazy for me because I am going to be playing. I'm just going to play it as soon as I get it. I'm going to start playing it and streaming it. I don't know what time that'll be. I guess I have to wake up. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I do this one not fully awake, as you may be able to tell. That's not true. I'm awake by 10 a.m. Come on. But as soon as I have that thing installed, we're going straight up. And then I also will be making a basic tutorial for it. I do have the first episode of the War in the West tutorial done. That will be posted later today. I'm going to do that in kind of small little chunks, like 30-minute episodes. So, hopefully you can whiz right through those. Old Philly sound, Stanley. Yeah, Soul Train is where a lot of those guys like Marvin Gaye, people like that, got their first real exposure. Don, what was that guy's name? Don something. He had a big afro, and he'd be like Soul Train, and man, could that dude dance! And it was like a dance show. It's kind of like American Bandstand, but it was far more urban in flavor. Well, Barreled, what? Hold on, you get anniversary coupons for Matrix Slytherin. Nice, nice. I will say that's one nice thing about this channel now is they send me games. You know, that sucker's coming in at what, 60 or 70 bucks? You know, I mean, that adds up after a bit. Oh, that reminds me, I will be playing Humankind on the channel. Hopefully before it gets released, it looks like. They're going to send me one of those. And I do love Civilization type games. That's from the guy that developed Civ 4, generally considered the best Civilization game. And then they're supposed to kind of like try to take another leap forward from Civ. Now, everybody's been saying that for years. Oh, my beautiful wife arrives. Look at that. Wow. Thank you, dear. You are a champ. Well, I love you too. Thank you, darling. Uh, she knows how to speak my love language, and that's in Venti. Oh, wow. Whoa! Hey, this is a PG-13 show. Um, you've got two aces now, Sean. I bet you do. You're better at the air war than I am. Evidently, you get better results in the air war. Hey, Bayard. Good to see you. Wow, I'm off on a tangent here. We got to go set up those submarines. Don Cornelius. Nice, nice, Barreled. Yes. Yeah, I think Humankind looks pretty good too. I'm very interested in it. At some point, I got a little tired of the Civ. You know, Civ 6, Civ 5, Civ 6, they make small improvements, but I think I just kind of got a little tired of the formula, and I just I haven't played it as much. That's one of the reasons I haven't put it up on the channel. But that Humankind, I would like to do that. Okay, so we don't have an ace yet. We've got a lot of guys with 3, but no aces. So what are we going to do? I don't know. Ship sunk. Now this is where the Bugles play. These two American submarines, the Pike and the Spearfish, were coming in at Manila. No one seemed to warn them that the Japanese were a mere 2 hexes away and now had bombers on Luzon. They bombed the crap out of Manila. They must have targeted the port. The guys came up from, being submerged, and whammo. Not good. 250 kilogram bomb right down through the top hatch. That's not, you're not going to survive that one. And then we had a 60 kilogram bomb into the Pike. Both just 8 points, but I really think that submarines have, relatively speaking, the points they're allotted here are not indicative of their worth. I think they should probably be worth more. It's very hard to kill submarines, and also they can wreak a lot of havoc, right? We did lose these 2 AKLs down by Milne Bay. We need to go look there because there's a lot of Japanese sub activity. Before we do that, though, let's just finish up here really fast. Ship availability, what do we have? Let's get that sorted. Let's get that sorted the other way. Manalani? Yeah, it's coming in one day. Okay, so we got stuff coming in at Balboa, Cape Town, Abaddon. Excellent. So we get a new tanker at Abaddon. I like that. Lots of cargo ships, as you can see. I mean, it's just AK as far as the eye can see. And again, the headliner is the CV, the Yorktown, coming in 10 days in beautiful San Diego. Ship withdrawal? I don't think we have. Gosh darn it. Come on. Sort it. There we go. 44 days, the Dominion Monarch goes off, but nothing to worry about there. Our withdrawal, we did withdraw a thing or two so far, but there's just nothing to really worry about there. Ground reinforcements, I guess we can look at those very quickly. In 3 days, we get Pacific Fleet, then a bunch of stuff locked to the West Coast out at Fort Ord. We do get some things at Sydney here. Okay, in 5 days, they're not much, 10 assault value. Yeah, a lot of this stuff that we get that's got a decent assault value is all locked into the West Coast. They're out there training. It's still early in the war, right? I mean, it's 2 weeks in. I guess it's not surprising. There's a bunch of troops at Fort Ord trying to figure out how to not hold their gun backwards. So anyway, David J. Rousson, hello. Yeah, Civ 3 was great too, P. Warner. I mean, I guess, most people, aficionados of the Civilization series, would say Civ 4 was the apex of the series, although now You know, a lot of people love Civ 6. I don't know. I have not have played much of it. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. Um, yeah. Yeah. The finale of Das Boot. Uh, let's see. Okay, so that's that. And then units destroyed. Okay, we don't need to look at any of that. Industry resources. We will look at this time because I'm going to free up some more stuff from stockpiling. We also need to go look at our mine situation. We seem to be out of Mark II mines, which is causing a lot of ships to greedily ask for them. Let's go down here. Now we've lost detection on these subs. Huh. Well, that's interesting. So I guess they blew up a couple of our cargo ships and then submerged, and we don't seem to know where they are. Maybe we could go look at let's look at the operational report. We haven't done that in a while. The Gudgeon, the Permit have been sighted. The Mariner Battalion is loading up. Okay. TF4 cannot completely unload troops at the Channel Island. All right. And 407 cannot completely unload troops at Luganville. Interesting. Okay, we'll go look at that. Task Force 211 arrived at the Eastern. Okay, so good. So a lot of our, I say a lot, at least this one anyway, starts the march of all of these task forces that we're going to send up to the East Coast that will eventually go to Cape Town. The CL Honolulu at Pearl Harbor has been repaired. That is completed. Excellent. Okay, TF380. This is all good information. We should probably look at this more often. Some of these task forces awaiting to unload at Pearl Harbor. We're getting this message again. We'll have to go look at the Channel Islands and Luganville. For some reason, they're saying they can't completely unload there. We'll have to check that out. I'm not exactly sure why. We had a merge. All right. Task forces being snooped, observed, shadowed. Who got out the thesaurus when they were doing this bit of programming? You know, that's a lot of different descriptors. Yeah, observed, snooped, sighted, shadowed. Sights, detected. Okay, this is all near Rangoon. So it appears that the Japanese did run some recon. Now this says dive bomber, but then we have recon. I don't know, they had some bombers out there. I don't know if maybe they're getting a little gun shy of flying over Rangoon directly because we have just been chewing them up there with the Flying Tigers. So maybe they're just kind of probing about. And then we have snooped. The Bittern snooped a Japanese medium bomber. Okay. Yeah, we saw some things. Port Moresby, a Japanese level bomber at they spotted near Port Moresby. That's interesting. I really hope the Japanese fleet doesn't come that way. It causes all kinds of problems, which probably indicates to me if I play the Japanese, I should come this way with their main force down near Moresby, Townsville, Nomaya, try to put all of that under pressure. Okay, a bunch more sightings. I'm not going to read over every single one of these with you. I do always go and look at this every turn. Not going to do it this time. Combat reports. What happened? Well, we could go through all those, but we watched them, so let's not do that. SIG intelligence. Let's check this one out this time. Radio transmissions detected at Patani. 2 4th Brigade is loaded. Okay, and moving to truck. All right, well, the Japanese already control truck. They could be staging there. It's possible. Singkoeng. Oh, okay. This is actually good information. So the 3 124th Infantry Battalion is planning for an attack on Singkoeng. Let's get out of here for a second, and let's go look at Singkoeng. Now, that is a place that often the Japanese hit very early. It's right here on the northwest corner of Borneo. And this, kind of triumvirate here of bases, the Japanese, will hit one or the other first and try to take all three of these, along with also landing here at Jesselton, Brunei, and Miri. So it looks like, and you can see the task forces here, something is heading to Singkoeng. At least that's the intelligence report we're getting. Radio transmission, okay, whatever. Kota Baru, not surprising, they're sending more troops to Kota Baru. Then we have, again, something moving towards Miri. So I would assume, and you often see, that they are bringing two landing forces, one over to those three bases to the northwest, and then one to the three bases to the, I guess there's four bases there, to the north. That would be a normal Japanese play right at the start, so that's not surprising. And when they do take Singkoeng and those bases, it causes problems because now a lot of stuff is in bombing range that was not previously in Japanese bombing range, and it starts to put Palembang under pressure for the first time. So we'll have to, be on guard. Naval Guard unit planning for an attack on Miri. Okay, again, same idea. An AK moving to Davao. Now they do have ships down at the south of Mindanao. So the furthest south of the Philippine Islands is Mindanao. Davao is the furthest south base there. I'm surprised. I thought that they were going to try to land there, but then nothing really happened. They've got like cargo there, but it's like they forgot to send the transport. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Wake Island, they took Wake last time. Looks like they may try to reinforce there. Okay. A lot of heavy radio transmissions, and another AK going to Kota Baru. All right, let's zip around the map really fast. Let's see what the heck you crazy folk are talking about. Oh, Stanley asking if any of the half-fixed battleships from Hawaii to the U.S. Yeah, the proper answers underneath there. True, they're not fixed quite enough. I mean, I would want the float. Well, we can go look at them at some point. And also, there's still just a little bit of Japanese sub activity. We even saw it this time in and around Pearl Harbor. I'm really hoping to scare them off. I mean, we've got enough ASW going on there that we should be able to detect a submarine on the other side of the Earth directly through. That's how much ASW we have going on around Pearl Harbor. So hopefully, we've sunk one or two of their subs right around there. Hopefully they kind of get the hint that we're not going to like any subs in that area. Now, they'll never fully get the hint, but I want to make sure we don't even have a small detection on a Japanese sub before I float them out. And also, I'll probably give it to the new year, and early in 42, we'll start to float those back. I think to San Francisco, probably. I don't know. San Francisco, I believe, has the biggest repair yard. Not that that's a huge problem because it's got enough. LA, San Francisco have enough that it'd be hard to fill them up. I also think San Francisco, just as the crow flies, is the closest to. Is that true? I don't know. Is LA closer? Maybe. I don't know. We'll go look. I guess maybe LA is closer, right? Because Pearl Harbor is kind of southwest this way, so maybe San Francisco's a little further. I guess we'll be going back this way, but we'll find out in hexes. We'll go look at it, get out the tape measure, see what happens. We got snooped. Yeah, we did. I know. It always makes me feel kind of dirty, when we got snooped. The hell does that mean? All right, let's jaunt around the map now. Yeah, so we've got ship sighted 4, including a destroyer. We've got ship sighted 4, including a light cruiser. Wow. Okay, well, we got a lot of stuff here. We've got APs, AKs, CMs, AKs. Huh. A tanker. That's a big task force. Or, well, I say big task force. It looks like it's 5 different task forces all moving in conjunction here. Now we do have a lot of subs in the area. Hopefully we can pick off something. But yeah, the Japanese are starting their descent into the greater island of Borneo. Like I said, when they take Singkoeng, that becomes a problem because they can directly, bomb Palembang. So a lot of these kind of ships that we have out here doing anti-sub work, we got to look out for that. Now, destroyers, you don't worry about as much because they're fast, they're hard to bomb. But we'll have to really watch bringing tankers in and out of Palembang. Once they land here and establish themselves, that kind of ceases a lot of what's going on at Palembang. We can still send in the cheap ones, we'll send in those 3 or 4 point cargo ships and have them load up fuel, but the 20 to 25 point tankers we're not going to be sending up there anymore once the Japanese are established here at Borneo. This will really ratchet up the air war. There's going to be a real battle going on here across the Java Sea. So anyway, that's interesting. Let's go down here again. Just make sure I didn't miss these subs. I don't think so. They now are no longer detected, but now we know there's Japanese sub activity up here. We did send that destroyer. I think it was the Davy Jones, the John Paul Jones. I can't remember. It's probably the John Paul Jones, right? Davy Jones. I doubt that they named one of the destroyers after the lead singer of the Monkees when the Monkees had not yet been created. I don't even think Davy Jones was alive. So we are sending that up to Moresby. We've got to get a lot of ASW right in this area because you've got to be able to traverse the strait. You've got to be able to get up to Moresby, so we'll have to make that a priority this time. Let's go out over Pearl Harbor. I didn't look close enough. This is that Japanese sub that we detected I was talking about. From what we can tell, it's probably only one sub, but there may be others lurking about. Always a smart place for the Japanese to be early on, but like I said, I mean, look at all the destroyer and submarine activity we have around here. Oh, let's go look really quickly out here at the Channel Islands. Why is this not able to unload? Well, the port capacity is 1, for one thing. Has he unloaded? Oh, okay. So he's actually just unloading very slowly. How about that? He's still unloading, and they're saying, well, there's a clog up at the port. So, all right, that's fine. Now, let's go back to Luganville. That's where I was thinking about. Luganville on the island of Espiritu Santo. That sounds like a happy place. Yeah, they're unloading. They're almost all unloaded now here at Luganville. We also have this transport that should begin unloading here at Comac. It's a base force, so that'll be nice to get that in there. Let's go look at this, what we do have here so far. Combat Luganville, that looks good. Combat Luganville, that looks good. All right, well, hopefully they get the rest of that off there. We still have the Leander, a light cruiser up here to provide some AA. It actually provides a decent amount, 212. Not stunning, but it's something. Oh, our base force got to Afate. I love to say Afate. Yep, that all looks good. So the base forces are on combat. Afate. We will be building up Afate. What's happening in Nomaya? We got a lot of stuff there. We'll come down there this week and look a lot closer at that. Let's go look at Malaya, see what kind of happened here. The Japanese continue moving south. As you can see here, they are now fully engaged in coming down the Malayan Peninsula. We are sort of in full retreat. Actually, I'll put this guy in combat. He's in combat defend, but let's also set his movement to Kuala Lumpur, so he'll be marching and fighting all at the same time. But let's go ahead and make sure we're getting him out of here. Yeah, all right, there we go. So kind of a fighting retreat. That looks good. We're already fighting and retreating here as we come down and start to try to put up, you know, roadblocks. That's all they really are until they get to Singapore. We'll spend some time in Singapore this time because this air war is really going to heat up as well. We got to make sure we don't get in a position where the runway is too damaged to get some of the aircraft out. These are those ships at Davao that we saw on the intelligence report. Yep, they're here, all right. You know, well, it's two light cruisers now. They may start some bombardment before they land troops. We had moved these planes here. Let's go ahead. Now it's saying using torpedoes, but that's not right because we had them set. Did we have them set at their maximum range? No, we did not. So we're just out of torpedoes, or we had no place to get them from. Let's transfer these guys out of here. Wait a minute. Let's see what it is exactly. We've got one serviceable, one in maintenance. They're the they're the Catalinas. All right. Yeah, let's try to transfer them out of here. Well, shoot. Oh, once again, hold on. 76. Wow, these guys can go anywhere pretty much. Transfer to base. Now, where do we want to go with these guys? I know this is kind of willy-nilly. I'm just jumping around here, but why not? It's fun. Shit, they could fly all the way to Sydney if they wanted to. Maybe we'll put them down at Darwin. We still have plenty of support at Darwin. Let's put them down at Darwin for now, and we'll go fix them this time as far as their, you know, their radii that are coming out. So that's happening at Davao. They are bringing more into Legazpi, maybe, or at least supplying here as this unit continues to move north to put us in the vice. As you can see, we have now been surrounded out here, really. They're beyond us. They're past us. They've moved down the mountain pass here, it seems. They're almost to Manila. These battles will start to commence in the next 3 turns or so. They're moving at a decent, you know, pretty decent clip, actually. Here, this is good in the Philippines for them. If they land here, we're in problems. They're coming down Malaya. The AI is playing well. The AI, then that's all you can ask for. Have they done a couple of questionable things? Maybe. If I was them, I'd be going harder after Rangoon. But all in all, I don't, you know, they're playing a good game. Looking at this map, I'm not detecting that many differences as if I was playing a good human player, and that's all you can really ask for, right? It's not like I'm looking at this and saying, oh man, I'm definitely playing the AI. What's going on at Abadan? Well, there's a lot going on at Abadan. Lots of ships coming in here. We've still got things in the penalty box, lots of ships into Aden. We'll go look at all of those this week. Cape Town starting to heat up, all right? But really, that's not where the action is. It's here, and here, and in the Philippines, you know, where we are now really being pressured. And once the Japanese take all of those areas, the game, you know, even picks up in the fun factor because there is, you know, kind of decisive battles happening all over the map. We're starting to get to that point. Java, we spent a lot of time in Java actually last week. Oh, let's go down here, I guess, since I sent these aircraft down here. Now I feel bad. I've got to tell them what to do. It's just that one plane. Where'd it go, though? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Hold on. Didn't I just transfer that plane down here? Did it give me an error message? Was there some reason I could not? Nope, it went. Well, where is it then? Click on this again. There it is. Now, I'm not, unless I'm going crazy, that did not show up the first time that we clicked on Darwin. This is just running basic naval search. We'll just keep it that way. It's running a huge search pattern. You know, question whether we should narrow that or not. I mean, that's just a massive search for one, you know, one plane. Obviously, it wouldn't search all of that. The AI will kind of pick where it goes, but that's one heck of a search pattern. Let's see. Oh, shoot. I hadn't caught up with the chat. Shattered Sword. Is that a book? Yeah, okay. Hey, I'll check that out. Eagle Against the Sun. Nice, nice. I've not read either. So yeah, yeah, YGBSM. I always amaze my acquaintances with my uh, very detailed, discrete knowledge of things that happened in World War II. It causes people to walk away from me at cocktail parties. I could never quite understand that. Um, it's it's the very special kind of person that likes such fun facts as we should call them, right? Um, okay, this all looks fine, looks good. Let's go over a look at the West Coast. A lot of stuff coming in here, of course. San Francisco, Eureka, Vancouver. We got a lot of things to look at this time, but everything's getting kind of congregated at our big ports, and so you like that. That's how you want it to be. Sydney, of course, Brisbane, all picking up. What really has worried me this time is we got to get this ASW taken care of. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do this time, though, is actually start in the very northeast corner of the map. I've been starting up at Abaddon. Let's change it up this time and start here and make sure that we have everything lined up in the eastern US that we want to have lined up. So we've got our first, we've got an AK here at the Iwa Cargo Cape Town. I've already named it. It's got a 4,800 capacity, good endurance, average speed. We've got two of them. They're essentially the same ship. I named them the same things. Let's put them all into their own task force here. Or put them all into their own task? No, let's put them in the same task force. There we go. All right, and we're already docked. Let's load supply. Yep, let's load supply. And let's set them on their way to Cape Town, all the way across the map. So let's go over here, set them to Cape Town. They will move to Cape Town. Yeah. Oh, wow, look at that. It's exactly 340 hexes to get there and back, and that is the exact endurance. So I guess we can figure out that Cape Town, the eastern U.S., whatever that is, Norfolk maybe, maybe New York City, I don't know, is exactly 13,600 nautical miles from Cape Town. Wow, no, wrong. A round trip is 13,600. So that's what, 6,800 one way, 6,800 nautical miles. I'll put this on minimal refuel just so maybe they top off just a little bit before they head back. But I'm just going to put that on continuous supply to Cape Town. They'll be running that the rest of the game. Okay, let's see how we're doing on our training up here. Make sure we got everything set up. Train 100, train escort, that's fine. 18 Wildcats up here, training pilots. The bomber squad, they're on Airfield Attack. That looks fine. Airfield Attack. Okay, so these are bolos that we're doing, to attack airfields. Fine. You want a nice kind of mix. It seems like we're doing a lot of these airfield, actually. This is ground attack. This is the B-17E Fortress, a heavy level bomber with a lot of payload. Another ground attack with the fortresses. Another ground attack with the fortresses. This is the Bolos again. We've got them for ASW patrol training out here. All right, we need more pilots that do ASW, that's for certain. This is only 2 planes though. Oh, now this unit we need to remove by January 15th. It's only 1 plane. What happens? Losing planes and pilots? Well, I don't want to do that. Okay, well, we'll leave it here for now. It's got to be out of here by January 15th. We've just got to remember to remove it by then. This one as well, it seems. Okay. Yeah, we would lose the pilot. I don't want to do that, but eventually we may just have to remove it. All right, so the average experience here is 29. Well, that definitely has got to be trained up. So what you're looking for here, train 100, range 0, make sure they're training, whatever you want to train them for or you think you need more of. Okay, And when I say more of, I'm talking about the pilots. Now you may find this shocking, but you can't train the planes, unfortunately. I guess maybe nowadays you could, right? Well, like with a Tesla, the damn thing drives itself. Maybe you could train it. But that's not how it worked in the 1940s. It's actually still the humans doing the work. These aren't like predator drones. Okay, training escort, so we fixed that. Training escort, training escort. These all look good. A lot of planes here, obviously. This is our main training area. So we've just got pilots training everywhere. Train 1000, escort, okay. Those are the lightnings. Train 100. Okay, that's all of them. And we've got one lonely base force here. We've got no ships in port, so that does it for the eastern U.S. Let's go down to the Panama Canal. Looks like we do have a new ship here. It's not at this port. It's not a Cristobal, but I just wanted to look at this. Nothing there. Here at Balboa, what do we have in port? We've got the Macawao. This is another one of those ships that we'll send up to the east coast of the U.S. Cargo Cape Town. All right, name this thing really quickly. Cargo Cape Town. Whoops, Cape Town. There we go. And let's send that up to the eastern U.S. There we go. All right. We got a lot of ships about to come in here and start running that Cape Town route. I can tell you there are really good allied players that swear by just going eastern U.S. to Cape Town. They don't even bother going from the west coast of the U.S. to Australia. They go eastern U.S., Cape Town to Perth. That's it. It is safer. I like to go both routes or have both routes going. Variety is the spice of life, right? No, I like to have both routes. It's not that dangerous if you go down past Tahiti. I guess we could argue about like I mean, it's got to be faster going from the western US to Australia. I mean, it just has to be, right? Rather than going eastern US to Cape Town to Perth. I guess we could go and do the math, but I do both. Um, yeah, Bayer, that's a good point as well, right? Perth does not have the biggest port in the world, and so you would also, I think, if you run that strategy, maybe even those smaller bases around Perth, you would have to build up those ports too to bring in that many ships. And that is true YGB SM, and that is the ultimate reason, right? A good human opponent will pick up on your logistics route, and once they realize you're not even trying to get things from the west coast of the US to Australia, they will, take all of their subs and try to do that Cape Town to Perth route, try to take that out. And so, again, I think it's better to have a couple of different routes you're going. Later on, we will even maybe do different levels to those routes. So one a little shallower, one a little deeper around Tahiti, so that we, have kind of two different routes going west coast to Australia. I haven't started doing that yet. Probably their next revolution around I will, though. Sorry, I need that coffee. Woo! Monday mornings. Let's see. Okay, so that's the Panama Canal. I think, did I get these going the right way here? Yeah, Eastern US, Cargo Cape Town, that all looks good. What do we have down here coming through? I think we've got these destroyers. They arrive in 6 days to San Diego. Gosh, it's taken them a little longer than I thought to get from the Panama Canal to San Diego. They have a speed of, well, that's their max speed, of course, of 35. Okay, well, they're still on the way. They will arrive before the Yorktown does, so we will have that kind of support. Let's jump up here to San Diego, see what's happening. Good morning, San Diego. Training escort, 50 is the average pilot here. Okay, that's fine. And also, these planes are locked here. USN Air West, ASW Patrol, that all looks fine. These are dive bombers, the Dauntless. Are these? They are carrier capable. Okay. At some point, we'll talk about the difference between carrier capable and carrier trained. They also really, to be on a carrier, need to be carrier trained. Right now, they're carrier capable. Um, are these ticketed for the Yorktown? I thought the Yorktown came with a full suite. I'm pretty sure it does. So these are just kind of, you know, others that we could eventually put on there as we lose planes. Hopefully not, but if we lose planes, some of our dive bombers off of our carriers. These are transport planes. They are also training. Lots of training going on. The Texan, the SNJ-3 Texan fighter. I don't know much about this fighter. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. I just know nothing about it. I'm not even going to go down that road. The Catalina. We are running ASW, like actual ASW here as well, with these B-25 Mitchells, of all things. Kind of the first appearance for those. Not the first, we've seen them, but the first time we've seen them doing something. And more training. All right, so we got a lot of training here. We got a local minesweeper. We've got one ship in port, which is the ACM. That's the obstructor. Now, do we have anything at San Diego that needs to be moved? I think all of these are now locked. This is what I'm talking about. As you get into the game, you just get to a point like these units are pretty much just never going to move. So they sit here. You don't have to keep messing around with them. We do have U.S. Air Fleet West. We've moved that down here. I didn't check. Are all these in combat mode? It's not the end of the world if they're not, but we might as well flip them over that way. Okay, that's all good. There's not a whole lot to do here. They're training a bunch of aircraft. They will continue to get new ships in, like the Yorktown. Some of our better ships show up in San Diego. What's happening in LA? I'm not the first person to ask that. Crazy LA. Well, I haven't been to some of the cities in Asia, but man, is LA a big town. And I'm not talking about population necessarily. It's just from side to side. Well, it never ends. Basically, San Diego and Los Angeles kind of just mash in together now. It's just one megaopolis. It looks like what is it, Coruscant on a Star Wars Coruscant, with the home world that's all a city now. That's kind of what LA looks like from the side. It's just city as far as the eye can see. When you fly into LA, it takes 45 minutes to fly just from one side of the town to the other. It's crazy. That is correct, Bayard. They have to be carrier capable, or they can't fly a mission while underway. That is true. Los Diego, that's right. Hey, Rocket Soccer, how you doing? Rocket Soccer loves the war in the East, but now I've got. Have you been bit by the war in the Pacific bug yet? They. Is that right, Bayard? You got U.S. dive bombers going off the Hermes. I like it. Can you do the Doolittle raid? Well, you can. You can. Yeah, you've got to get some bombers out there with the range to do it. I thought I saw a YouTube video that some player of this game had recreated that at some point. Do a search for that. I'm pretty sure somebody has done it. Float planes. What are we doing with them? We're training them. Of course we are. We're training these float planes. Or I keep saying we're training the planes. We're training the pilots. They're flying the planes and therefore being trained. We are doing ASWs with these Mitchells as well. All right. So we've got the Mitchells in the fray. They are good to do ASW with because their range is 12, and so they really get out here. Which ones were the Mitchells here? There they are. Let's see what their vectors are. Okay, that all looks good. That's good coverage. All right, that looks great. So the Mitchells have a good range of 12 for their extended. And so they're good to do ASW with because they don't just do that small little fan here. You know, they get out 6 hexes since it's half. We have a transport here. Whoa, the big old Queen Elizabeth has arrived. Excuse me, wow, hiccup. Somebody scare me. The Queen Elizabeth has just a massive hold. Troop capacity 8,900. Cargo capacity 2,500. Now it does have 1 major damage on the engine. Interesting. Okay, let's throw that in the rail yard, or the rail yard. I'm thinking War in the East when I say rail yard. Let's I'm tempted to throw this in to get repaired really quickly for like a day or two. This withdraws in 120 days, huh? Interesting. All right, let's take it out of the task force. Let's disband the task force. Now let's go into the port. Well, let's find her. We got plenty of more APs here. I think oh. It doesn't need to be in readiness, obviously. We can stand it down. Pierside shipyard. Wow, 17 days? Because it's got a 1 major on the engine damage? That seems really excessive. Well, I guess if you have a major, like something really wrong with the engine of this bad boy, I guess that could take quite a bit of time, but holy smokes. All right, I'm going to put it in the ship. Well, it withdraws in 120 days. Does it make sense to take 17 days? Was it even slowing it down? Oh, shoot, there we go. Was it even slowing it down? It's still got a 30 speed. Well, after all that, I will have wasted a turn with it because I'm going to take it out of repair. That's, you know, it withdraws in 120 days. Why even bother taking 17 of those days? It's not really slowing it down, so that's fine. I was going to just do some nice repair on it, but nope, not now. We're floating it out there. We've got destroyers here. Oh, okay, these arrived. These are some of the ones we sent back from Pearl Harbor, and so now they're ready. One hell of a valve job, right? I mean, what is that? You know, we just need an oil change. It's going to be 17 days. I guess an oil change on a ship that size may take 17 days. I don't even know. 48,000 tons, says Bayard. Yeah, that's a big mama. No offense to the Queen. I don't want to have her have 007 after me. Okay, well, we've got these destroyers here. Let's run some ASW with them. I'm actually really happy to get them. But we will do that next time. I'm going to call it an episode. I've got a War in the East that will be coming up within the next hour or so. I'll do another War in the East episode. We'll live stream that. I've got a War in the West tutorial that will start. That will drop this evening, the first episode of that. That will be in bite-sized chunks. I'm going to try to keep every episode of that to 30 to 40 minutes, not a full hour, and kind of motor through it. We'll see where that one goes. I've made a couple of the episodes, and I'm going to make a couple more, so I'm going to really hurry up to try to get that done before War in the East 2 drops, or at least get all the episodes out, especially the Air War ones. Now, they're coming a little later in the series, but really with War in the West, it's the amphibious landings and the Air War that are really different than War in the East or even this game. So I'll be focusing on them in upcoming episodes. But anyway, the first one of those will drop today. Anyway, thank you guys so much. As always, it was a great chat. It always is. You guys are the best. Got the best subs in the business, as I always say, and I do appreciate it. So I will see you next time, and we will get out to these little islands. We'll continue up the west coast of the U.S., get out to the islands, and take care of all that this week. So thanks as always, Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next